So I want to tell you guys how I got started as a rapper. I was born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio. I went through Catholic grade school, Catholic high school, Jesuit high school, St. Xavier. I then went to a Jesuit college, Xavier University. I got a master's degree and became a nurse. That's a different story, right? You look at me and you think, or at least most of my life, people have looked at me and said, there's no way that guy can rap. And then they hear me and all of a sudden I have a new fan, a new follower, someone with whom I've connected on a very soul-to-soul or human-to-human element. Something that I have built with the company I now own and operate, PH Record Company, is the idea that we are all human. Whether we're black or white, African, Indian, Chinese, Swedish, Venezuelan, we are all human. And as a Christian, I believe that Jesus calls us to love one another. I'm a sinner, and that's the hard line that I try to walk. Johnny Cash, you probably know the song, Walk the Line. Every one of us has a story, every one of us has struggles, but at the end of the day, one of the amazing things about music is it connects us. You can feel worlds apart from someone. You could be in a different country on a subway train and you hear through someone's headphone that they're listening to your favorite song. And all of a sudden you realize, wow, the world is a small place and that person's not so different from me, right? We all realize this in rare little pockets of time that we all share the same human story. So what is it about me and rap that connects with you? Well, I am a storyteller. I'm a musician. I picked up a guitar when I was 16. I learned mostly how to play country and rock songs in the hills of Delhi. That's the suburb of Cincinnati, the 513. So when I picked up that guitar, I felt an immediate depth within my own personality that I had untapped. I realized that a piano, a guitar, your voice, these are ways in which humans since the dawn of time, we've probably had some form of music even when we were living a nomadic lifestyle around campfires. People at some point connected that the ear is there to hear and to listen, but there's so many different sounds within our universe. Rap, hip-hop, yeah, 808s, Pineapple 808. So what does that mean, right? Where did it all begin? For those who are familiar with that song, one of my hits, you might say, at the local underground level. Well, I had a friend who was a fan of Mike Posner and was listening to Mike Posner's mixtapes right about the time that I was 17, 18, 19, somewhere in that time frame, around beginning my college years. And the summer before I think I started college, maybe that was when Mike Posner's song, not Please Don't Go, he had a remix of Evil Woman, and he had a remix of Beyonce's Halo that were kind of taking the internet by storm. So what did I do? I would listen with CJ and I'd kind of hear these words in my head, I think, but I wouldn't say anything. I just had a soundtrack of my own to whatever artist was playing. I'd substitute words. I'd come up with my own way of branching off from what they were creating. But I wasn't sharing that with anybody until one day, I think CJ just said, "Rap, Dave," and I did, and I could. Not well, but better than most people where I grew up, right? One thing led to another, and I was performing freestyles, ironically, at swim meets over the microphone as kind of this shadow rapper. I'd grab the microphone, nobody knew who I was or where the sound was coming from, but probably for 500 people over the intercom, I was rapping. And then The one time I think I did show myself, people were going nuts. They were clapping, they were high-fiving me, and that kudos is always great, but what it shows us is human connection. Comedy is another way that this is done. Drama, right? These forms of art remind us of our humanity, and that really appealed to me because I was getting to understand myself through the medium of music in these two apparently, superficially apparently, dichotomous ways. The guitar, rock, and country, and over here my voice and mixtapes and rap. None of that really took off until I met my friend Marcus Jamil Owens in college. I did expand from Mike Posner, and of course I was familiar with rappers like 50 Cent, Eminem, Jay-Z, Tupac, all of the people, Biggie Smalls, that anybody, whether you grew up in California, New York, Florida, Illinois, or Cincinnati, Ohio, you had heard those artists on the radio and you knew some of their songs. But there was a rapper named Lupe Fiasco who, for me, he was from Chicago. He really had a sense of how to open a person's mind using lyrics as this almost, if I'm allowed to get biblical here, right? For those who don't mind that sense of spirituality, it's a common thing I'll associate. He was really like passing out the bread of life, not like Jesus Christ's the bread of life, the Eucharist, but he was giving us a reminder on a daily basis of our humanity, and doing it in such a profound way, song by song. So I am a fan of Modest Mouse and the song Float On. When that beat came out, that remixed Float On, and it went, alright, already the show goes on. That song, you probably remember it, right? It was on the radio all the time. I'm hearing for the first time this resonance with maybe that depth of personality that I had alluded to before, and I'm thinking, there's nothing to stop me from being able to make music. If I can learn from the people who are doing it, I can do it myself. One thing led to another, and at Xavier, there was maybe a few thousand people at that school, not a big school. People started realizing that this white guy could rap. I had a lot of friends from all different cultures. Started going to a lot of what are probably referred to, don't be offended please. If you need to get offended, fine, write it in the comments and I will sincerely respond to you as best as I am able. But not to get sidetracked by the hate that I'm sure will come. The love is always better, but both are a part of reality, right? You got to keep on moving. Little motivation, little positivity for anybody out there who's going through one of those struggles. But basically, the black parties where I was hanging out all the time, right? A lot of the guys I played basketball with, we would cipher, and I'm starting to perform all across these house parties with different DJs. By the time I was a junior and a senior in college, I was performing at the main music festival, Xavier Fest, in front of, again, a couple thousand people, and having a blast doing it. Brought my friends on stage, and just, those are memories that are near and dear to my heart. I'll share a quick funny thing. I actually got a call from a buddy of mine not too long ago who's getting married at his bachelor party. Some of my old college friends asked if I would rap for them over the phone. So that was over a decade ago when this all started, and I still have people asking me what's going on with your music. So I'm going to do my best in a professional way to start expanding my reach through the internet and hopefully adding a sense of truth within these videos that we can all still relate to, whether you've gone on from the time you knew me in college to be married and have kids, whether you're single and living your best adult life hustling as I am with my nursing career, or if you're somewhere in between all of this and you just need a song to get you through the battle you're fighting, I hope that my music and my story can serve as a foundation for you to return to when you feel lost. With that being said, who is the Cartesian Demon? And why do I now call myself pH513? Well, let's take it back to how Cartesian Demon came to be. That name, that alias, that many of the people who knew me way back when and got my first mixtapes, they always asked, what does that mean, the Cartesian Demon? And while I certainly am no expert on the subject, I will say that the philosopher René Descartes, he had this concept of this evil demon that was supposedly proof that God did not exist. In fact, if there was any supreme being, it was an evil being, an evil omnipotent entity. And if you dig deep in the philosophy, what ultimately is revealed through that semi-conscious deliberation regarding what does it all mean, right? What's the truth? Am I a soul? Am I flesh? Am I thought? Am I action? Am I all these things? We don't have to go too far into philosophy, but my point is, when one person hears me say something, I'll go back to what I referred to earlier. One person hears me say black parties, okay? And they think that that might mean, coming from someone who has this color skin, that I'm an outcast or I'm somebody coming into a new world. Another person might hear that term, black parties, and think, well, that guy's a racist because he's not black. Why would he go to a black party? Somebody else might say, that's awesome. The mixing of culture and ethnicities. Boom, America, melting pot. Remember? That's how awesomeness is created, through many perspectives, but searching to find that human connection. So, Nicki Minaj had a song at the time called Starships. Yeah, it was a catchy beat. People thought she was an amazing female rapper. She's got how many fans now, is blown up, etc. I thought Starships was the dumbest song I'd ever heard in my entire life. And I got a long list of really dumb songs. Most of them are what's on the radio and fit under the category of pop nowadays. Don't take that the wrong way, because Michael Jackson, his pop music, yeah, that'll be around forever. Although, again, let's not get too far off topic. His personal life, there's plenty of controversy there. I don't need to comment on that right now. What I'm trying to say is, one person's trash is another person's treasure. If you love Starships by Nicki Minaj, good for you. You don't need to listen to me. But I wanted to give people that sense with my music that no matter what I look like, no matter what I sound like, my songs might resonate with someone who doesn't have the exact same background, who doesn't look like I do. Music is transformative, right? That alchemy. There's something between us that music allows a greater story, a greater depth of understanding to be revealed, both between, the listener and the speaker, right? It's an exchange. It's human connection. You, not me, are the center of my music, in the sense that what I experience through the people in my life is what gives me the will to create. So thank you. So that's a little nugget on Cartesian Demon. Again, comment, like, subscribe, whatever. I hate saying that, but I'm going to say it in the sense that if you need greater depth, yes, that's the way to do it. Email me, whatever, right? I'm not going to be able to tell you everything right here and right now. So, mixtapes, Cartesian Demon, how did I get in the studio? Great question. That answer involves drugs, death threats, women, all the things that your parents warned you hey, don't listen to that rap music, it's no good for you. Yeah, there's a grain of truth in that. I've lived it. I've shot music videos with people who've been in and out of jail. I could name drop some people here. Maybe it's not smart to do it, but if I get YouTube to contact me and say take it down, so be it. But people like Meek Mill, Rich Homie Quan, gosh, Hootie and the Blowfish, you know, I've worked, Hit Boy, who worked with Kanye, and many others, A$AP Rocky. I've brushed shoulders with their audio engineers, their videographers, photographers. The music industry, while it's a mystery to some extent, you know, I guess what I am ultimately doing is creating my personality in the form of a brand, a company, and an artist, so that discipline, truth, love, these foundational values, right, encapsulated, one of the phrases I'll throw out, real life, real music, real purpose. What does that mean? What it means is that I'm not looking for $1 to tell me that I can make music. I'm not looking for Pharrell Williams or somebody to tell me that I can make music. I don't need the fame. I don't need the fortune. Will it come? I think it can. It's a possibility. But what's more important is to be authentic. Bruce Lee, the great martial artist and actor, right? He used to define success for himself as being his true soul expressed through his being, his deepest essence on a daily basis, when he shook someone's hand, when he looked you in the eyes, to be his authentic self. That was what he felt was fulfilling in life. And I think that that is very true. If you are able to be honest and to be willing to learn from others, you will also be humble in bringing forth who you are to them. I don't do it all the time. I said it before, I'm a sinner, I'm not perfect. But I am trying to create and leave a legacy of those characteristics, because I'm not the first and I'm not the last, right? I'm just a blip in time, and while I'm here, I want to make the most of my life by sharing it with you through music, through the audio engineering services that my company offers, through the PH brand. So in the studio, what was that like? As I said before, drug dealers, and many other people, different artists from all different walks of life. Some people were bringing guns to the studio. Some people were shooting cocaine. I avoided as much of that as I possibly could, and somehow I made it out alive. And I did say death threats, right? But that story's probably not going to hit public ears for reasons that, as far as I'm concerned, I want to stay alive. And I think that's enough. But going to the studio as somebody who had never recorded, right? You kind of have to learn how that works. There's a language between the producer, between the audio engineer. Sometimes it's the same person and the person recording in the booth. What I brought was intensity and authenticity. And this attitude of I can adapt, I can learn, I can be a sponge, as Buddy LaRosa, for those of you in Cincinnati listening, Buddy LaRosa once said that to me at a dinner table. Be a sponge. He always tried to be a sponge, soak it all in. I think that's a great way to approach professional learning and continue learning throughout your career. But recording is as simple as you go in there, there's a microphone, you put on the headphones, you close the door to the sound booth, the audio engineer cues in your music. Hopefully you've memorized it. If you're a serious artist, you should know it, and you should step into the studio booth and it's already gold because you've rehearsed, you've practiced. But I've seen a lot of people show up They got crinkled paper. Everything gets picked up on that microphone. You're just making your audio engineer's job harder, right? A lot of guys don't know their rhyme scheme. They don't know where to hit their words. They don't know what words to accent, right? All of that stuff is part of being the artist and part of creating a great product. So when I launched my first mixtape, it wasn't really a success like Mac Miller was a success dropping mixtapes like that. But I think I passed out 500 copies in like a weekend. Some people tell me they still got that CD. We had physical CDs. They still have it. So I don't think I have a copy. If you watch this video and you have a copy of that, keep it. But again, drop it in the comments and tell me who you are, because good on you. I think there was a mixtape I dropped called Kaleidoscope, but that never hit print production. But Demon Days Volume 1, which is what I'm going to release. I'll tell you a little bit about each one of these songs. It's going to kind of be a flashback to how I got to where I am today. But I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hope you stick with me. Cartesian Demon has evolved. pH513 is the artist. PH Record Company is the label. PH is the brand. We're going to keep on moving and keep on hustling. And thank you so much for tuning in. We got a lot more to come.